Earlier today, I made a video on all the different ways of hitting and all the different customization that you can do with it. Yesterday, I made a video on all the different ways to pitch and how you can customize that. If you want to see either of them, there will be a playlist down in the description below. So of course, if you want to see either of them, go down in the description below and click on it and just look at whichever one you want. But today we're going to be talking about base running and fielding. I decided to put those two together because I think they're probably going to be easier ones to talk about than pitching and hitting. So I felt like I should probably mix them together. So if we go to options, because we're going to talk about the customization first, we're going to do that. So when it comes to base running, there are only, it looks like, 4 things to worry about. When it comes to customization of the base running, you can do assist or auto. That means you assist in where they go, or you can let the CPU decide for itself. So if you want to be in control of the runners, do assist. If you don't want to be in control, do auto. The next one is the interface for base running. You have default and classic. I don't know off the top of my head what that is. I obviously know what default is, but I don't know classic. So we're gonna look at classic when we get into base running itself. The next one we have is the sliding decisions. Of course, if you want to slide on your own, you can, or you can have the CPU do it for you. And then we have the runner windows. Whenever you're playing like a game, you'll see like a runner window over somebody at first or third base, like when they're taking, you know, their lead. So it's, do you want that on or do you want that off? I would probably suggest keeping it on in case, you know, like you're facing somebody online and they steal a lot on you, so it's probably helpful. So now that we've really talked about the base running, we're gonna go into a little bit of base running, and then once we're done with that, we'll move over to fielding. I feel like base running is probably the easier thing to talk about. So we're gonna come over to Options Explorer, because here we will actually be able to do different base running. So this will hopefully be helpful. So we're gonna come here to base running, and obviously here it'll give you, do you want to do default, do you want to do classic, or do you want to do the auto? We're going to show the default first because this is probably the one I would suggest you do, mainly because I think and hope it'll probably be just a little easier than classic. So here's how it's going to work. It's going to hit for us, so we can not have to worry about that. But the first and most simple thing is, if you want to run an extra base, you hold L1. If you hold L1, they will continue. If you want to go back, you hold R1. R1 will send them back. Now, as you can see now, I am stopped. If you press R2, obviously that didn't work there, but if you press R2 while you're in the middle of the bases, you can stop yourself. So that could come in handy if you want to get yourself in like a rundown, or if you notice that you're kind of getting a little too far off. I don't know if it'll be like better to stop yourself and then run back. Like here we stop back. That might be just a little faster than the just holding this way and then kind of like going back. So it might be a faster way to get back if you go just a little too far than you wanted to. The next way of doing this base running is you can control each player separately. So how it works is you kind of use your left stick to point at the base runner itself, and you kind of then use, then you use the buttons of your controller. It'll show up there depending on which, you know, console you're using, and you can send them to specific bases. So he's going to hit it, and you're going to see me go for the guy at second immediately and then send him home with X. And I'm going to take the guy that was at first or at home and send him to second. We'll send him to third by using square. Now we can send him back to second by using triangle. And obviously if you're on Xbox, A would be home, B would be first, Y would be second, and then X would be third. Jesus, I almost said X would be square. No, it wouldn't. Actually, yes, it kind of would. Now, those are basically the ways of hitting. Obviously, I can't show you this here, but if you are batting and you want to steal, that would be with L2, or I guess Hold on, let me get my Xbox controller. LT, the trigger. It would be the trigger button. This would be the steal button. And then obviously if you want to go forward, it would be the left bumper. Stopping yourself would be right trigger. And then going backwards would be the right bumper. Now if you're going to steal, something I would suggest is the L1 and R1, or the left bumper and right bumper. Those will help your player take a lead. If you do happen to take a lead, you will be at a higher chance of potentially getting picked off. So it's a risk versus reward. You can take a lead, but if somebody who knows how to do pickoffs well decides to pick you off, you will get picked off. So now we're gonna go over to classic. I have an idea of what this could be about, so I'm just going to test it first and then we'll see. Because I think how it works is you press the button of where they're going. Okay, so that one has a triangle and you kind of, oh, I don't like this. I know. Okay, so here's how it works. The player will have a symbol next to them and you press that button to control them. Then you use the D-pad on the controller to send them to their position. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to this that it's like foreign to me, but I don't really like that idea of it. Can I stop? I can stop. Okay, so everything else kind of works the same with, you know, the retreat, the go forward, the stop. But the only difference is in the main one, you use your stick to point at the person, and then you use the face buttons to determine what base. Where here, you use the face buttons to determine where they go, and the D-pad, no, you use the face buttons to determine who you control, and then the D-pad to determine where they go. So I feel like that's a little, I don't like that one. And of course, if you want them to automatically do it for you, you can do that too. All right, so now we're going to talk about fielding. So there is a good amount to go over. So you can throw with 3 different ways. You can throw with button accuracy, you can throw with the analog, or you can throw with buttons. I'm going to quickly go over them so you understand. Button accuracy is you hold which button base you want to throw it to. Obviously the face buttons being what we've talked about before. You hold whichever one you want to whichever base, and you will have a meter come up and you'll have a line go through the meter. You want to time it in the center where the green is, and that will give you a good throw. If you hit it in the yellow, you have a good chance of missing your mark. So you're going to pull the guy off the bag, you're going to throw it wild, so you really want to get used to timing it to getting it in that middle. With analog, you use your right analog stick on your PlayStation or Xbox, and you point to the direction that you want to go in. Does this work? Because that's technically first for you guys. So I guess just to kind of help you out a little bit, like that would be towards first, that would be towards second, that would be towards third, and that would be towards home. Where are you going, Ziggy? You can't see him. He's behind my monitor in a very small spot on my desk. And then for buttons, you just press the, you know, button of where you want to throw it. And then depending on how long you hold it will be how hard the person throws it. But I think the harder you throw it, the better chance you may throw it a little wild. So I'm not fully confident on that, but I think that's how it works. The next thing we're going to talk about is the throwing meter. The throwing meter is, you obviously want to have it on, but if you're feeling adventurous, you can turn it off and just, hey, take wild guesses. Fielding decision, if you want to do it yourself or have the computer do it. Throwing decision, do you want to throw it for yourself or do you want the computer to do it? In-play defense, I like dynamic just because I feel like it's the best way to do it, but you can have it medium, high, broadcast, or retro. I will let you guys look through those and figure out which one you kind of like for yourself. We have throw canceling, where you have the ability to kind of throw and then double tap and stop yourself from throwing there. I have it on, but it doesn't feel like I have it on, honestly. It feels like it doesn't really work how I want it to. We have the one button dive and jump, where one button specifically is to do both, or you can have it off where one button is to dive and then one is to jump. We have the automatic jump and dive reactions for the infield, outfield, and all that. I suggest probably just leaving it on, because sometimes maybe you want them to do it and sometimes you don't, but it just depends on you. The next thing that I think is probably a little important is the catch indicator. So you have a drifting, a track, and okay, so that's the only two, I guess, the drifting and trackball. Let me see what the trackball looks like, because I'm kind of like in a game. We'll try to throw like some fastballs and see what it is. Hopefully he hits one soon. What does it take to get a guy just to hit a normal fly ball? Apparently too much. Just want you to hit a fly ball. All right, so here's what this looks like. It's a long line, and you kind of gotta figure out exactly where it is. If you have the line indicator to show you where to go, you can kind of, you know, interconnect them. If you have that off, you kind of just have to guess. Preferably, I would use drifting. I feel like it's easier to use, honestly. But again, this is just, it all depends on what you feel most comfortable with. If you have the defensive shift, you can set it to manual or auto. If you want to set them all yourself or just have them play normally all the time, you can do that. Or if you want them to automatically shift against power hitters, like let's go with somebody who's a big bop on the left side. Let's go with Rafael Devers. He's a good left-handed hitter that pulls the ball. They'll have the three people on the right and then the one person in like the middle or left side of the infield, and you can do that, or you can do manual where it's going to be 2 and 2. And then the off the ball ribbon is the thing, like it'll show like a hit off the wall, and then it'll show kind of like how it's going to bounce off the wall. So you can have that on or off. I would suggest having it on because it really helps knowing where the ball is going to go. So I think that's everything that we really need to go over when it comes to fielding, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is all other stuff, and there's no advanced stuff on that. Yeah, I think that's everything we need to talk about with fielding. Now let me show you how some of it works, and we'll be on our merry way. All right, so first we're going to show off the fielding, then we're going to show off the throwing. So with fielding, we're going to do all three of them just to kind of show you how it works. So we're going to go with the drifting ball. So as you'll see, the ball will not stay in the same spot. The ball is going to kind of drift into position of where it thinks, you know, it should go. And I'm going to try to get something else to pop up. Hopefully I will. It just depends on if the thing will let me. Come on, make it pop up. Nah, doesn't really pop up yet. But if you're running to a ball and you happen to get there like a decent amount earlier than you probably should, like you'll have a like green circle kind of, you know, pop up around you. That basically tells you stop, you're in a good spot. You can obviously adjust if you feel like you should, but it's there to be like, you're good, you're good, you're good, you can stop. So that's kind of how that works. The trackball is obviously the long line, and you can use that to get to the spot that you want to use it. I think this is automatically on for this because it's supposed to help you really intertwine those to find the spot of where to go to. Obviously it's going to go to the same spot every time in this practice, but yeah, I think I can end this now, or should I wait? I have no idea. We'll do another like one. Okay, and then if you're feeling risky enough, maybe you want to do it without it there. Hey, I don't know, that's up to you. You can go nuts. You'll have your player kind of slow down if you manage to reach the right spot, but hey, that's on you if you feel crazy. And then of course auto fielding is there. But now we're going to show off the different ways to throw. So the button accuracy is the first one we're going to show. I see you back there. Yes, I see that nose and those eyes. So how this works is you press the button to get it into the green little spot. You have to hold it until it reaches there, and then you let go, and you want to get it to each base respectively. So Here I want to try to turn a double play. Obviously with Graber's fielding, it's not the best. Well, this is basically just timing it to get it into the zone correctly and then releasing it once it's in the green. Here I'll show you what it kind of looks like if you fail. So let's wait for the ground ball. Here we'll kind of, oh, I missed, and then you'll see I threw it away, and then you kind of want to get it back in, obviously. The next one, which is buttons, is just you just throw it to the respective base. I think it'll show like a bunch of, yeah, it'll show a bunch of like arrows. It'll show you like how hard you're gonna throw it. So I'll try to do like a quick tap and see if there's any big of a difference, just to make sure. We'll kind of, okay, so it doesn't actually do anything. It's just press the button. It'll automatically just go, but you don't have control if you happen to make a mistake or not. It just kind of goes. So again, if you feel like you want to give away your ability to control if you throw the ball away or not, for just easy press button and go, that's up to you. And then we have the analog, where you use your right analog stick to show where you want to throw the ball. If you want to throw it to second, you throw up and you'll see like a green circle saying you did it. But if you happen to miss a little bit, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to kind of go like in a diagonal way, and you're going to see it probably go like yellow, like that, and that will throw it away. So that's how diagonal works. It's just you pick the direction, or diagonal, that's how analog works. You pick the direction and then it throws. Yeah. And then of course, if you want to do auto throwing, that's there too. Now obviously I can't show you everything when it comes to this, because it doesn't really let me show you everything. So one thing I will talk about when it comes to fielding or throwing that you should know is whenever you're going to throw and you want to hit the cutoff man, that would be the L1 button, or the left bumper, the left bumper. Obviously you have to time it in there as well, but there will be a chance, if we take a look at the accuracy meter, if you do use the accuracy meter, if you're throwing it home when there is a chance for a play at the plate, or you're throwing it to the cutoff man when somebody is going to second, third, or home, you could have a yellow line in the middle of that green bar. If you manage to hit that yellow line, it is a perfect throw, and you'll have your either thrower, you'll have the person throwing throw a perfect throw to the next person, whether it's the cutoff man or the guy at home. But I will say, if you're throwing it from left, center, or right field, and you have a guy that has like 50 arm, they all go up to like 99. So if it has like a 50 arm, do not expect a perfect throw to get a guy out, because he does not have the arm to throw it home with a lot of strength. He may get it there perfectly for him, but a perfectly for him isn't the same as a perfectly for somebody who has a 99 arm. And the other thing that I want to talk about with throwing was, if you have somebody steal on you, there will be a meter going up instead of like across. You'll have the yellow, green, yellow, and then the yellow line. If you manage to throw it there, you'll get a very good throw, and it should be almost exactly on the mark to hopefully get them out. Now, the one thing I want to talk about with fielding itself is, if you do not use the dive and jump as one button, I think I talked about it, but I'm just going to make sure that I said it. R1 would be your jump, R2 would be your dive, right bumper would be your jump, right trigger would be your dive. But I think that's everything there is to fielding and base running, at least a good majority of it. I've definitely went over at least just about everything. But if there are any questions that you have that maybe I did not answer, you can of course leave them down in the comments below. I will be willing to answer anything that I might have missed if you can think of it. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.